Lake Dardanelle near Russellville has received national attention in the past as being one of the major bass fishing tournament sites. But during the winter months, the attention here is on the bald eagles, and it's where we'll begin this week's show. And then we'll take you to Big Lake National Wildlife Refuge near Manila as we go from kayak to airboat and tour that lake. And then we'll conclude this particular episode at Mammoth Spring near the Missouri state line as we show you the 10th largest spring in the world. So for now, let's do a little kayaking here with Sasha Bowles and explore Lake Dardanelle. Many interpretive programs are offered at Lake Dardanelle State Park, with one of them being the kayak tours.
See where the log's laying off in the water? Can you see the tree that's laying in the water? You go straight up in those pine trees, kind of that middle pine tree, there's a big clump of sticks up there. Well, I've worked at Lake Dardanelle State Park for about 4 years now, and we've had eagle nests out here every year. We have a pair that nests here on a regular basis, and of course we get all the extra migrants in the wintertime. So we always have lots of fun in the winter, seeing all the extra eagles, and usually there's a few juveniles still hanging around from the previous nesting, so we get to see lots of interesting sightings. So we've seen a few of them grappling this year, so that's pretty exciting. We don't usually get to see that on a regular basis. So
grappling? Now what?
It's when they're courting and they fly up and they grab each other's talons and spiral down.
That'd be a sight to see.
It's pretty interesting.
So as far as like average numbers, say during the winter months, how folks come out here, how many eagles do you think they could see?
A really great boat tour, you'll see about 5. An average boat tour, you'll see 1 or 2. So we usually, in the wintertime, we always see at least 1, pretty much almost every time. As soon as I say always, we won't see any, but you can usually see at least 1, and on a really good day, you'll see 5.
Yeah.
We've seen up to 7, so.
Huh. And I guess the way we're doing it now in the kayak is a good way to kind of ease up on them and not to, you know.
Well, the boat usually can ease up on them pretty good. Our tour boat's pretty quiet, so we can kind of ease up there on them fairly quietly, and they're fairly used to the boat traffic around here, so we don't startle them too much. But anytime you can get in a kayak to go see birds, you can pretty much guarantee you'll see more than you would in a boat.
Of course, the folks may not want to venture out on a kayak when it's cold. But
that is true. It's pretty cold in a kayak in the eagle season, but if you dress appropriately and take the right gear, it's just as much fun as in the summertime. And there's a few less bugs, so.
That's true. That's true. I think I'd rather be out here at this time of the year than when it's blazing hot and 100 degrees.
Yeah, well, and you know, there's less bugs and there's a lot less boat traffic too.
Yeah.
So it's a little safer in a kayak as far as boat traffic, even if it is a little cooler.
Besides the eagles, the winter months do bring in a lot of waterfowl and other birds.
There are osprey. They usually travel through in the spring and the fall when they migrate. We have bald eagles, we have white pelicans. You get a big influx in ducks in the wintertime. We have great blue herons all over the place. They're always fun to see.
Yeah, the great blue herons, hopefully we'll spot 1 or 2 here today.
We usually have quite a few sitting along the bank. They have a pretty healthy fishery to choose from, so they usually get a pretty good smorgasbord of things to eat. So they're usually hiding out in the logs and things over there, so we might get to see some on our way over. See the new nest from here. see the end of the boat dock?
Yeah.
If you go straight up that pine tree, you can kind of see a dark block almost to the top.
If all the scenery and wildlife out on the lake isn't enough for you, then inside the visitor center are 7,000 gallons worth of freshwater aquariums where you can get a close-up look at all the fish that you've been kayaking over. There are also 3 self-guided kayak tours that are available to explore the Lake Dardanelle area, in which a brochure explains the area's past, present, and future.
I guess we'll go right on up here to this last little tree and see if we see anybody up there.
Okay. Big Lake National Wildlife Refuge in the northeast corner of the state is recognized as an important link along the Mississippi Migratory Corridor. This refuge played an instrumental role in the recovery of the bald eagle from its endangered status. Eagles have been raising their young here on an annual basis since 1993. During the winter months, peak numbers of waterfowl can sometimes exceed 250,000. So let's go on a tour of Big Lake National Wildlife Refuge. We teamed up with refuge manager Jeremy Bennett for a tour of Big Lake on an airboat, which is quite an ideal way to get around on this shallow, grassy, and swampy lake.
To do the work we need to do, this is one of the tools that we use. The lake has a lot of shallow areas, heavily vegetated, and this is really the only way to go. Unfortunately, this is something that's utilized by the service for work, but this tool is not allowed for the public to use for waterfowl disturbance, wildlife disturbance, things like that.
Big Lake National Wildlife Refuge is one of the nation's oldest refuges, having been established in 1915 through an executive order by President Woodrow Wilson as a reserve and breeding grounds for native birds. Located 35 miles east of Jonesboro or 2 miles east of Manila, Big Lake is situated along the northern tier of the Mississippi Delta region.
We're completely surrounded by intensive agriculture land, and most people can't imagine the size and the vastness of this swampland right in the middle of cotton country.
Big Lake is actually adjacent to the Boot Heel of Missouri.
Missouri Boot Heel actually drains all the agriculture land, and they have an extensive drainage system of ditches, and all that drains southeast Missouri, the Boot Heel, and it drains actually in and around Big Lake.
Hunting is of course not allowed on the refuge, but is allowed next door in the wildlife management area, with the duck hunter's #1 preference being quite abundant.
Predominantly, probably 90% mallard, but we've got northern pintail, northern shovelers, we've got green-winged teal, Canada geese. We've picked up a few Canada geese this past couple weeks. We've got some diving ducks, most importantly canvasback, which is a pretty important diving duck that is a species of concern, and a lot of people get excited about canvasbacks. They like the larger open water areas, which there's not many of those areas in northeast Arkansas.
The peak period for observing waterfowl here is in the dead of winter.
Starting in December is probably our peak numbers, and it'll carry on into January, and basically we'll hold large numbers of waterfowl until ice freezes the lake up. You know, once the lake is pretty well frozen over, you know, the birds have to move south. So we hold large numbers until that happens.
More than 225 different species of birds have been observed on the refuge and recorded since 1915, including bald eagles, having a nest located on the lake. The New Madrid earthquakes of 1811 and 1812 changed the Big Lake area from a free-flowing river system to its present lake swamp environment. But you don't have to have an airboat to get around.
There's actually something for everybody. Most visitors come by vehicle, and there's some wonderful wildlife viewing opportunities along some roads that we maintain. So you can actually view and photograph wildlife straight from your car window. And in the wintertime, that's a really good opportunity to enjoy what we have to offer in the comforts of your vehicle. So there are roadside viewing opportunities. We have some marked walking trails to observe wildlife along 4 different walking paths we have. If you bring a boat, it's depending on the time of year, most of the lake is a waterfowl sanctuary in the wintertime. So a large portion of the lake is closed to boaters when the largest concentration of waterfowl are here, so they're not disturbed. But in the summertime and the spring, you can bring your boat and enjoy lots of the flooded cypress areas on the lake. We've got a wilderness area that's pretty unique to northeast Arkansas, virgin cypress trees.
The way it was here, I guess, years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really the only untouched portion of the refuge. It's about 2,600 acres, and basically it's undisturbed. It's an area of peace and solitude.
So if it's peace and solitude you're seeking, I strongly recommend Big Lake National Wildlife Refuge in northeast Arkansas. You'll leave a changed person with a greater appreciation for what the National Wildlife Refuge system offers us in America. It's one of the great natural wonders in mid-America, Mammoth Spring, north of Hardy, just south of the Missouri state line. It's actually the 10th largest spring in the world, and definitely the largest one in Arkansas. This dam here forms the Spring River, which is famous for its rainbow trout. And once again, I forgot to bring my fishing pole. The actual Mammoth Spring cannot be seen because it emerges more than 80 feet below the water level of the spring pool. Nearly 10 million gallons of water per hour are discharged from this spring, which rightfully earns its title as a National Natural Landmark. All of this water in turn forms 10-acre Spring Lake. Here you'll find all sorts of photo opportunities with the ducks and geese on the lake during their winter migration. The dam once provided power for a grist mill and produced hydroelectric power. A walkway at the top of the dam offers an excellent view of the spillway and all the water billowing down, forming the Spring River. But Mammoth Spring itself is just for starters here at this state park. Though railroad passenger service is no longer available to Mammoth Spring, the 1886 Frisco Depot still stands. Restored in 1999 as a railroad museum, it offers a hands-on experience into the bygone days of the Iron Horse and the golden age of railroad travel.
Mammoth Spring Station Agent Joseph is a busy man with multiple duties to perform. He sells tickets, keeps the books, handles mail and express business.
The railway became very important to the growth of Mammoth Spring, especially for the local farmers, as it provided not only passenger but cargo service as well. A Frisco caboose next to the depot is also available for tours, since cabooses too have gone by the wayside. Adjacent to the park is also the Mammoth Spring National Fish Hatchery. Established in 1903, it's one of the oldest in the nation. Fish raised here are stocked in public waters to support federal fishery responsibilities. Locating a fish hatchery here, of course, made perfect sense, with the water from Mammoth Spring being a constant 58 degrees and naturally high dissolved oxygen content, making it ideal for fish culture. This fish hatchery also plays a very important role in the recovery of endangered and threatened species such as the paddlefish, the alligator snapping turtle, and assisting in nationwide efforts to protect and restore both endangered and non-endangered mussel shell populations, producing about 5,000 freshwater mussels per year for research and supplemental stocking. Mammoth Spring. The spring alone is worth the trip up here, and all the rest makes it even more worthwhile. So check out all there is to see and do here at Mammoth Spring State Park north of Hardy. And for more info on this destination, plus many of our others, and to view our maps, or to order a copy of an episode, visit our website, aetn.org/exploringarkansas. And we'll see you again the next time for another exciting adventure on Exploring Arkansas.